For the ship inspector, every inspection is a test of his professional judgment.
First impressions can make a difference, but it's only a surface thing. And if a ship doesn't give an overall cosmetic appearance of being perfect, doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad ship at all, because it's the people that make the significant difference to a vessel.
Ship vetting is important to everyone because it helps improve the quality of shipping operations. Poor quality ships endanger the lives of their crew. They can lead to pollution incidents that cost millions and millions of dollars in cleanup costs, in compensation claims, and in long-term environmental monitoring. These spills often lead to legislation, which increases operating costs. All this gives the shipping industry and the company involved a bad reputation. So, vetting matters. The inspector's report is used by charterers and others to help determine whether to accept the ship or not. The inspector must ensure that the ship is operating at a consistently safe standard. He must verify that the cargo is in safe hands and that the ship is not a potential pollution threat.
Morning, Captain. Morning.
Yes,
John Gibson.
hello, sir.
Shipping inspector.
The inspector must be satisfied that the ship is not a threat to the lives of its crew, to the terminal personnel, or to the terminal itself. The operator or technical manager is always notified before an inspection.
Very good.
It is essential that the captain is informed to give him and his crew time to get ready for the
I'll need to see
inspection.
ship's documents, etc. I'll start with all that, if I may.
Sure.
Have you got a conference room or?
When notification of an inspection is received, a management meeting should be held to ensure that the ship will be ready. The ship should be operated at a consistently high standard, but even on the best ship, some preparation will need to be made. The inspector will be looking in the ship's records for evidence of a high operational standard, and that's what the ship needs to provide. The captain should do a check a day or two before the inspection using the OCIMF Vessel Inspection Questionnaire, the VIQ, to confirm what items will be examined. The VIQ is the basis for the SIRE inspection, which has now become the industry standard. It deals with every particular for oil, product, gas and chemical carriers. It can be accessed by ship inspectors as an electronic document. Hard copies are available to ship operators. As well as being the heart of the SIRE reporting system, the VIQ is also a handy source of information for those on board who wish to audit their own operations. It has been written by professionals for use by fellow professionals. It provides a useful cross-reference for the mandatory requirements of the SOLAS, MARPOL and STCW conventions. The VIQ also refers to the International Safety Guide for Oil Tankers and Terminals, ISGOT. The ISGOT manual is an essential reference book for all tanker operations. The VIQ is used in conjunction with another electronic document, the VPQ, the Vessel Particulars Questionnaire. This is submitted by the operator or technical manager and contains information such as length, draft, tank dimensions, cargo systems, and so on. This document saves everyone time, as the information does not have to be recorded at each inspection. A pre-inspection tour by the master and chief engineer will ensure that the ship is as ready as it can be, and that any minor problems are discovered and corrected before the inspector arrives. A vetting inspection will always begin with a thorough examination of the ship's documents, so they should be kept together, ready. The statutory certificates and classification society records will be scrutinized.
Right.
If you want also, we'll check the papers.
Right, fine. Okay, I can get the general particulars off here. That's very good. I'll start with the ship certificates. Are the dates in here as well?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
certificates?
Date up to date.
Great, very good. Has the ship been in the US at all?
Yes, one time before 2 years. But
2 years ago. Just fine.
yes,
Can I see the oil record books, Captain, please?
this is for engine.
Yeah.
The oil record books will be examined to see how the ship disposes of its oily residues.
No, this is the deck one, actually, Captain. When it comes to record keeping, it's very important that there's as much information available as possible. There is no substitute for good record keeping. It's nice not doing any tank washing, eh, Captain? Can I have a look at the hot work permits that you've got on the records? Oh, this is in the workshop, so even when you're welding in the workshop, you fill out a certificate.
Or must be.
The hot work permit, rather. Yeah. Hot work permits, for example, are something that we're very, very keen on. Accidents on tankers continue to occur as a result of bad working practice associated with hot work. The company may lay down an awful lot of procedures and requirements with regard to hot work. They can be quite lengthy. But in the end, it's what the personnel on the ship do.
Yes, yes.
The only way that you can establish whether they are following those or not is by viewing hot work permits. The other different name, it was, yeah.
The inspector may well cross-reference logbooks and other records with hot work permits. Training is another area of scrutiny. The qualifications of the officers and crew, including the certificates of any relevant courses they have attended, will be examined.
The lifeboat should be, we have got up.
Because of quality accreditation, the process of auditing is becoming more and more important. You cannot establish that you're following any form of quality accreditation system unless there's paperwork to substantiate that. So these records, although ship staff often see it as being tedious, repetitive and unnecessary, in terms of safety management, they're an absolute priority and a must. Okay then, Captain, thank you very much. If it's all right now, we'll start on the bridge. We'll go straight up there now if we can.
Yeah,
is that all right?
we go together.
Right.
It is always best to be honest and straightforward with the inspector. Inspectors examine a lot of ships. They have seen most kinds of deception and trickery. If you don't tell the truth and the inspector uncovers what you're trying to hide, he will become suspicious and dig deeper, making for a much longer inspection.
Basically, the ship staff should treat the inspector with a very open mind and just try and help him as much as they possibly can, because all he's there to do is to try and establish the way the ship is being operated. And he wants the true picture rather than any sort of false, obscured image that they might be trying to present. It's far better to see a ship with warts and all, as it were, rather than to see one that's been glossed over with a lot of makeup. It's all working?
The inspector should be able to ask to see anything on board. He does not have the right to interfere with the ship's operation or operate any equipment, although he may request equipment to be tested if circumstances permit. There should only be one, or at most 2, inspections going on at one time.
Do they check with,
If there are more, the inspectors will be unable to do an effective job.
Does this...
Second, yesterday we check.
This is just the fire alarm, but do you check with smoke? Does the
You
electrician
can
check...
do it if you want.
No, do you check it with smoke?
Yes, yes.
You do? Does the electrician keep a record of that?
The inspection should be completed in 8 hours,
Yeah.
but it can take longer, so it's better if a superintendent or operator's representative is
Right.
available to accompany the inspector,
What should we do first?
relieving the senior officers of the task.
Let's have a quick look at the chart.
The inspector will normally insist on being accompanied, so that there's a witness to everything that he finds. For the same reason, you should ensure that he is escorted. Whatever the situation,
You give this to the pilot.
a bit
Does
of
he sign
diplomacy
it?
is required by both sides during an inspection.
You just give it to the pilot. Navigational safety is very important, and if the simplest chart correction is omitted, it can have very dire consequences. Pollution could easily be caused by a vessel running aground or missing a navigational mark, whatever. This is something that we take very, very seriously in the industry. Have a look at your corrections.
A properly corrected set of charts is an essential resource for any ship. They will be examined closely to confirm that they are up to date and properly corrected. Any deficiencies will be considered high risk and noted in the report.
This is the next chart.
Yeah.
The inspector will need to see that a proper system is in place, supervised by the captain and the operator for keeping the charts up to date.
736.
Tracings are an effective and accurate method of doing this. Their use also reduces the workload. In today's trading patterns, it is no longer practicable to keep just the charts for the present voyage up to date. Ideally, the entire ship's folio of charts needs to be kept up to date. Proper passage planning is essential. There must be evidence of a berth-to-berth passage planning system. Notations on the charts should include all essential information as well as actions to be taken at predetermined points. There should be a passage planning notebook with information to back up the chart. There must be evidence that the master has approved the passage plan.
We start the new one. This voyage.
Oh,
10.
City Korea, Augusta City Korea.
The inspector will want to check that all the navigational equipment is fully operational. He will examine the deck log. It should be in pen. If it is in pencil, there may be concerns about its legal reliability, should it be needed in court.
Where is chief mate? Here.
Hi, Chief.
Chief mate.
How's it going? All right?
Third mate.
Good, good. What sort of loading rate are you getting?
About 9,000 cubic.
With regard to cargo operations, what we're looking for is experienced, well-trained staff who are monitoring the situation, whether it's loading or discharging, have well-established procedures to cope with any unforeseen circumstance. And we want to see good pre-planning prior to arrival so that all personnel are familiar with what is going to be expected of them. We've got a Saab radar loading system. All working okay?
The inspector will expect to see a detailed cargo operations plan that is being kept to.
Okay, does this interface directly with the Saab, or do you have to input it interfaces directly? Oh, very good.
If crude oil washing is part of the discharge procedure, the inspector will want to see the plan and the pre-cow checklist. This must include evidence to show that all lines were pressure tested before arrival and found to be free of leaks. The test results should be recorded in the deck log.
But here is the record of inner gas.
Is it still running?
Percent how much?
Inert gas systems are always checked.
Switch
The
off.
right oxygen levels, measured by a properly calibrated meter, are essential.
Okay, you can see also this. Here is pressure.
The inspector will want to establish the condition of the pipework and will look for temporary repairs and any non-functioning pressure relief valves. Make sure that all the system's trips and alarms are tested before discharge. Record the date and result of these tests for the inspector to see.
Well, it's very important these days to make sure that the relevant oil pollution gear is out on deck. It's no good it being stuck in a store somewhere. It's got to be out on the deck, ready for immediate use. Valuable time can be lost trying to find equipment. Obviously the scuppers have to be plugged. The ship staff have got to be aware of the procedures with stopping cargo and what to do in the event of any form of overflow. And that requires regular drills.
Before entry to the pump room, gas levels must be checked, and the inspector will want to confirm that this has been done.
Pump rooms are a very high-risk area, and it's very important that the ventilation is working correctly. And as it's an enclosed space, that the correct procedures are used when actually entering and going down to the pump room. Personnel should be checking the pump rooms on a regular basis.
Adequate ventilation is essential. SOLAS requirements are 20 changes of air an hour. Is your pump room ventilation effective? Parts of the pump room are awkward to get to and potentially hazardous. They often do not get the attention they need. The state of the pump room bilges is a good sign of how the cargo system is maintained and operated. Are your pump room bilges clean and dry? In the engine control room, evidence will be needed of proper operational procedures. Is all the main and auxiliary machinery fully operational?
Right.
Have the emergency stops on the cargo pumps been checked before the cargo operation?
What you need.
The overall appearance of the engine room can immediately indicate the standard to which it's being operated. A clean, efficient, well-run engine room indicates that the staff are able to operate the plant effectively and safely, and that they know exactly what they're doing. Okay.
The oily water separator will always be looked at.
Up top. Okay, we'll check that out later. Is it possible to test?
When is tank empty, cannot work.
The tank is empty now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are all the crew wearing the appropriate protective clothing? Does the steering flat comply with SOLAS requirements? Is there any evidence of hydraulic leaks?
Now we know constantly because it's
Yeah, I know.
Has the steering been checked recently?
Yeah.
To prevent any pollution risk, the inspector will check that all overboard lines and valves are blanked off during cargo operations.
It should really be marked up, then.
okay.
Okay. Fine. No problem. Good. Morning.
Good morning, sir.
Inspectors, like the rest of us, are influenced by the way things look. If the accommodation alleys are tidy, if boiler suits and uniforms are clean, it gives a good impression.
Got a fire blanket?
The inspector will look for good housekeeping in the galley and laundry, where it helps reduce fire risks.
Blanket.
Fire blanket.
No?
Jel ono radi ova svitlo? Ne, ono svitlo kad se zatvoriš unutra.
No alarm? Alarm, Captain? We not got an alarm?
A surprising number of ships are reported for not maintaining the correct precautions for entry to the accommodation. Entry points must be restricted and clearly marked.
Can also check.
Have we got the SOLAS training manual? Yes, we have.
The designated smoking area must also be clearly signed and the smoking regulations rigorously enforced. When the inspection is complete, the inspector sits down to write his report. Not all companies' inspectors write their reports before leaving the ship. But all OCIMF participating companies use the SIRE VIQ, the Vessel Information Questionnaire, as the basis for their inspections. The SIRE database is located in London and provides a world centre for up-to-date information on the quality of oil, chemical and gas tankers. When the reports are complete, the participating companies forward them first to the ship's operator and then to the SIRE database. The operators receive the information in an abbreviated form as a uniform inspection report. Reports submitted to SIRE are held for up to 14 days to give the operators time to respond. They only have one opportunity to respond, but even if the operator replies later than 14 days, their comments will still always accompany the report. The ship's operator or technical manager can submit voluntarily a VPQ, a Vessel Particulars Questionnaire, to the SIRE database to give information about the ship. So, available to members through a worldwide computer network are the Uniform Inspection Reports, the abbreviated version of the VIQ, always accompanied by the operator's comments. The VPQs are available through the same network. The principal users of the data are OCIMF members. However, Other organisations, which include charterers and port authorities, as well as approved third parties, also have access to the reports. This means that the inspection reports can have wide circulation and reach a lot of people throughout the oil and shipping industries. The principal objective of a SIRE report is to provide accurate and up-to-date information to potential charterers of the ship.
You've got a minute, Andrew, just to discuss this one?
Yeah.
The inspector does not pass or fail the ship, but his observations are analysed by participating companies to see if their needs and standards can be met by the ship.
Okay, one's certificate
Which
back on board.
is now on board. Highlighted 2 points, which have both been addressed with the owner's comments there.
The purpose of the SIRE system is to improve the quality of bulk oil, chemical and gas tankers.
Not an issue, okay.
So do you know anything about the owner?
Yeah, see what the database has.
The SIRE report is not the only criterion in the chartering of a ship,
At least
but it
4
is a
of the
very
ships in the last
important one.
12 months, and they've all come out quite well.
The number of reports submitted to and requested from the SIRE system grows every month. This should mean fewer inspections for the ship, but greater significance for each individual inspection. OCIMF and Port State Control are already working together, and the future will see increasing harmonisation of inspection standards and issues.
Yes?
Hi.
Hi, Mr. John.
Okay,
Hello?
that's me
Please.
finished the report, Captain.
Yes?
There's a copy for you.
No, thank
Okay,
you.
one for the chief. Right, well, just have a run through, just so we know, we make sure that we know what we're talking about, and the same things, and we understand what I'm saying about the ship, okay? Overall, the ship isn't really too bad. The condition of the ship is very good. She's very clean, but there are a number of points which I've really got to bring to your attention. All right? Chemicals are stored in the steering flat alongside the mooring lines, and they're readily available.
Whether the captain is given a copy of the report or not, the inspector should always discuss his findings fully with the captain before he leaves the ship. There may well be a few things that can be put right immediately by the crew. Inspectors need to be aware that an inspection takes a lot of time and exerts considerable pressure on the ship's officers. For those on board, there are no secrets to getting a good inspection report. The operator must give the captain as much notice as possible of the inspection to allow for adequate preparation. The officers must ensure that objective evidence is recorded to show that the ship is kept at a consistently high standard. Keep a log of all test procedures. It takes good management systems to ensure that the ship is always at a good operational level. It requires a head office that gives the seafarers the support and assistance they need to do their jobs properly. And lastly, it takes a thorough effort by the senior officers, including a management meeting and a pre-inspection check of the ship by the captain and chief engineer.
And I'll thank you very much indeed for your help.
Okay, thank you very much also for...
The OCIMF VIQ is available to all operators and should be used by masters as a means of self-auditing.
Who knows?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you also.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Read the printed document that accompanies this video and watch the video again. Another inspection completed. Another report to be entered into the SIRE database. Another part of the worldwide effort to maintain the safety, reliability, and reputation of our industry.